Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Tough Crowd podcast. My name's Maisie.
I'm Emma.
And I am the improver. That's my name for this week. It's my name. It's been my name for quite a while, according to Apple and Siri. It's on my phone, so it's official.
Maze, when
It's
Bobby
true.
was down here this weekend, the only name he called mom was J-Fi the whole weekend. He'd be like, J-Fi, where are we going today? J-Fi, what's for dinner?
That's
J-Fi.
not good.
I literally was, oh my gosh.
It really fit, though. And he sat in the front seat next to me when I was driving, was my navigator, backed me up on a lot of arguments. So I do appreciate it.
No, Maze, we were
So
in
he
a
was
clo-
sucking up to you.
we were in a clothing that, like, we were,
Maybe.
you know that men's store near Lola Dre in Jupiter?
Yes.
We were in there, and he had been shopping in there while we were at Lola Dre, and so we walk in, and he introduces mom, and this is my future mother-in-law, and doesn't introduce me. I was like, to the guy that was helping him, I was like, what about me, your actual fiance?
Maybe he just assumed that the guy would put together that you were
I was there too.
the one.
So.
No, but you guys
Oh,
were
yeah.
trailing behind. I was first in line.
Mom inserted herself into
be
the
fair.
situation immediately.
I wanted to see what was going on. I was very curious. He was in there for a long time.
He was, Maze, like an hour. So classic Bobby.
He was in there
Yeah.
so long that we were in the other store and I forgot that he was with us. And then we went out to dinner on Saturday night
Yes.
for Emma's birthday.
Sushi. It was delicious.
Echo in Palm Beach, which was good, but I still think it was salty just because Asian food tends to be salty, even though it was a higher end.
It's also because you're
Asian
eating
food.
soy sauce with every single thing you eat.
I know.
Why did you feel salty in the morning?
Yes, I felt salty.
She
Swollen?
felt salty emotionally and
And
physically.
physically.
I'm just
like-
happy that all of you guys are now not together
Why?
because it made me sad and it gave me FOMO.
Because you were traveling.
And I
and
made
we're-
a
and you weren't
TikTok
here.
about it and it got a lot of views.
What was your TikTok? Explain to
My
the
TikTok is
listeners.
popping off.
Where should everyone
I
go?
went Maisie.filler. Thank you very much on TikTok.
She has two.
But-
You have to make sure to follow the right one because I don't know why you went to.
I
so
can't delete the other one.
Oh, because you can't get into it.
I am into it, but it won't let me delete it because it's connected to my high school email and I don't have access to that email. So I need to deep dive further into deleting that.
There must be a way to do that.
Can you change the email on it?
No.
Oh. Okay.
I was gonna deep dive into that. But yeah, that's my TikTok. I went viral on a Hinge video I made. So we're creeping
What
up
does
to
that
1,000 followers.
Can you translate that for the older people here? What is
I don't go on Hinge a ton just because I don't know, I'm
back
traveling,
up?
like I'm
Another
busy.
step, though.
What's Hinge?
Back up another step. Hinge is the dating app, correct?
Yeah, like most people
Okay.
know what that is. And we've talked about it a lot on this
Okay.
podcast, so I don't know. There's Google. And
She's sassy today.
and now I lost my train of thought. But I
You went viral on something on Hinge, and you were explaining what
not
that
on
was.
Hinge. I didn't go viral on Hinge.
That's why. I know,
I
but
went-
that's what I thought you were saying.
No, it was on TikTok. I made a video
About
about
Hinge.
Hinge.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
went on Hinge last week and the first person that pops up in like the list of people that you can go through like dislike, it was most compatible. I have air quotes for those listening. And I believe that all the most compatibles I see, like I'm not compatible with. And so I was like, I'm just gonna set my camera up and talk about this. So I talked about it and it went like off, like so many comments and stuff about it. And it got so many views. And I didn't put any effort into this and it just went off.
But why does Hinge then say you're compatible if you're not compatible?
So
in
what?
your opinion?
So based on the comments I was receiving, since it's a paid subscription, they want you to upgrade to the premium. So they do that so that you pay to
want you
get
to not
better
like them.
matches.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
But I don't understand. How does paying more get you better matches?
because it gets you like like on preferred stuff. I don't know. I'm not really sure, but
So are you
and
saying
people
it's a
are like
scam?
they don't want you to actually like have success and go off the app.
So they're setting you up for failure, you mean?
I
By
guess that's what people
saying
are
that you're
saying.
compatible with somebody you're not compatible with? Is that thing?
Yeah. I don't know the validity of that. I just felt it in that moment, and I felt slightly offended by the person they said I was compatible with. So
Were they ugly?
here I am. No, it wasn't about looks. It was like, yeah, maybe we're close to the same age, but like none of the interests they had down were remotely similar.
Hmm.
Give
And
me an
then
example of one.
I don't know, I can't think off the top of my head, but someone
Okay.
commented, "This is why you're still single." And I honestly, I laughed, but I was like, to be honest, I feel, say I really wanted a boyfriend, I could go and find a boyfriend right now, but it's a choice to be alone. Sorry.
It's not a
I
choice
don't
to
know if
be
that's a hot
alone. No, no,
take,
no.
but
It's I don't think it's that you're choosing to be alone. It's that you haven't found anyone worth giving up time for.
yeah,
Yeah.
but some
Like,
people really are,
They
but
let's
that's
want
date
because they
someone
have
they
because I'm
want to have
bored.
that's because they have nothing
right.
going exactly, have nothing going on in their lives. But you can't be in a relationship without giving up things in your life because you just have less time for
Yeah,
whatever it is that you're doing, like friends or social time, whatever that may be. So if you don't like someone enough to do that, then why
it's
would you do
true.
that? But if you have so
The
much
thought
time
of,
on your
yeah,
hands, it's easy to just slot someone right in there.
the thought of waking up and having to be like, oh, I gotta call this person, that just sounds awful to me right now.
And whoever made that comment was correct.
But also,
No, I don't want to do that right now. If someone I like, I would, but I don't want to right now.
if
Right.
you're dating someone that you
It's
have to
fair.
wake up and call, like I don't think about Bobby till like noon sometimes. I'm like, oh, I forgot I'm engaged. Then I realize it's noon and I'm
Shout out, Bobby.
haven't even texted him but we both are like that because we're both just busy. He literally just called me. Is that not weird? Like his ears were
Yes.
ringing.
He knew. He knew we were
Decline.
speaking about him.
Decline.
The
Did
other thing
Bobby
that
tell you that I want to be sponsored by Crocs?
He told me he was like
Yes, I
texting you,
heard.
texting you about. I'm like, why are you on the Crocs website? And he was like, Maisie needs to be sponsored by Crocs. Oh, because he like knows the guy that owns them or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Classic Bobby.
Ugh,
Mom's like my nightmare.
I don't know.
Hey, don't speak ill of Crocs. That would be iconic. And
Maybe
like,
they
how great of a story would it be? Right?
It would be a good story.
What would the story be?
I don't know that my
Thought they
mom
were dangerous.
never bought us Crocs, but then
No, she did, and then took them
my
away.
brother-in-law got me, I never had Crocs.
Oh, you
He
did.
got me Crocs and I fell in love.
He got you Crocs as a joke, and you fell in love.
Yeah.
Well, they are conducive to
Florida.
your lifestyle and being able to have socks on and then going to put golf shoes on.
Yes, they're a great between pair of shoes.
I can see that, yes.
They're comfortable. They can wash right off.
They can go into sport mode.
Sport mode.
What sport
When you
mode?
put the ankle strap back, so they don't fall off.
Oh my god.
No, I can't believe you never had Crocs. Like I remember going to Nordstrom at West Farms Mall and buying green Crocs and putting the gibbets in them. And then Mom was like, "A
The
kid's
gibbets.
Croc got stuck in an escalator and he lost his foot or something crazy." And so we were from then on not allowed to wear Crocs because of one freak accident.
Since they might be a future sponsor, I will not speak ill of Crocs.
Yes.
That's true.
Move on.
I got to witness Florida basketball win a national championship last night, surrounded by Houston fans. And
Oh.
I had absolutely no shame, and I was clapping so loud every time they scored, and it was just like crickets.
That's interesting that there were that many Houston fans in Louisville.
We're like an hour and a half from Houston. So.
Oh, okay. That makes sense then. I guess I wasn't thinking that.
Did I tell you what happened?
No.
Speaking of Texas, on my Uber ride home, or when Bobby and I got to Florida, we Ubered from the airport, and the whole ride, the guy was like very talkative, and he kept making random comments about Texas, and he was like, "Oh, like Texas has good barbecue. And I was like, okay. And then he'd be like, I've only ever been to Texas once. And I was like, okay. And kept saying just weird one-off things about Texas. And I was so confused. And then I realized he thought when he asked where we were coming from, we said Boston. And I think he thought we said Austin. And it didn't click in my mind until we were pulling into the driveway. And I was like, oh, he thinks we're from Austin. Because he kept saying like weird, crazy things about Texas. And Bobby and I were just like looking like, this guy's crazy, whatever. And then I was like, oh, he was just trying to be nice. And we're just like not responding. Because I'm like,
Oh my God.
I'm like, yeah, Texas has good barbecue, I'm sure. And then Bobby, being Bobby, just starts also making things up back to him. I don't even know what he was saying, but I'm like, what are you talking about?
Texas.
Yes.
He's like naming specific barbecue joints.
Yeah, and I'm like looking at him like, what are you doing? It's like giving me actual anxiety. And Bobby's like, I don't care. It's funny. Like, I'm just going to talk to the guy like he's talking to us. What? So that was my eventful Texas reference.
That's funny.
I know.
On the way to dinner, we were talking about something, and I corrected Dad, or you corrected Bobby. I don't remember which it was. And there was a line that we'll use for a long time, which is that you weren't correcting him. You were...
So, no, this is what happened.
Him.
I said... Macy's already heard the story. I said to... I, like, corrected Bobby about something, and Dad was in the front seat, like, you're in it, Bobby, like a life of learning. And I said, no, Dad, it's a life of enrichment. And
it is.
Apparently everyone really got
I think that's a good twist
drawn
on
to
it.
that. I think so too. We're just constantly enriching you.
All right. Circling back to the improver.
The improver, yeah.
It all comes full circle.
No, also literally, Maisie, Mom, her theme the past 2 days is like asking me to do something, but then like extreme micromanaging it where I'm like, why don't you just do it? Like we had burgers on Sunday night.
She does
like,
that to me.
The best thing about having Natalie here too was that like Natalie is now in my role and I get pushed down into your role, Macy, with the least important job. So like Natalie had to cut up all the food and my job was to take out the condiments. Like literally the easiest job. And Mom's, are you gonna take them out? Are you gonna take them out? Are you gonna take them out? And so I finally was like,
No,
sure. And then she just
then
starts pulling them out with me. I don't even have a chance to be right. And then she already has like spoons and forks out to put in each condiment. And it's like, we need to get more spoons for the condiments. And I'm like, you're the one doing it, so why don't you just do it? And then
That's what I always say. Don't ask me to do it if I can't actually do it.
And then last night I'm doing the green beans, like again the easiest job. I have to steam them, and so I like put a timer on my phone. Are you watching these green beans? Because I'm sitting with Dad on the couch, and I'm like, yes, Dad. She has a timer on. Okay. Like, I don't like overdone green beans. I'm like, okay.
Now, Emma, we have to watch it because Dad might yell at us for being mean to Mom.
I know. He was like, Macy, this is literally what he said. He goes, this is not okay. That's my wife.
Okay, but Mom's literally laughing. So
I thought Dad would be like, oh, like now Mom knows how I feel. But no, he's just like sad that Mom's getting made fun of.
I know. Speaking of Dad,
do
we want to talk about our incident from yesterday?
Okay, can I just say, like, why is there no clear answer? Nobody is telling me anything.
It also sounds like I was texting Nat about it last night.
It sounds crazy.
I'm like, it sounds scarier if you weren't here because it sounds like
yeah, and I'm like, but did he have some episode that caused him to hit his head?
Okay.
What the heck?
To preface this, but let me set the scene. Is that in our garage, in our garage here, Mom pulls her big Volvo SUV in. The trunk, you have to stop it before the trunk is open all the way because otherwise it hits the top of the garage and it gets dented, the whole thing. So the trunk is lower than it naturally should be and is probably, like, I think if it was all the way up, you wouldn't walk into it, even at Dad's height. Right. I've actually walked into it before, hit my head really hard on it, putting my suitcase in the car, bent near it because it's lower than you're used to being around it. So that's like the scene, setting the scene.
So I'm going to take Dad to the airport at 2:00 in the afternoon. He brings his golf clubs out, his little suitcase, backpack, whatever. He goes out the door, and I go to get water or something, and I open the door, and he is staggering around the driveway, holding his head, and At first, I couldn't. I was shocked.
Are you being dramatic?
No,
Really?
he was.
Like,
He was staggering around.
why
and
was he
holding
staggering around?
Because he hit his head so hard.
No,
and
but
he said, I hit my head on the trunk. And I've done that before, but I've hit it on like the inside part.
He hit
not
it like
the
metal corner, Maisie, like
The
lit
metal
really
corner, okay.
pointy. I think he went over and went to go like this to put his suitcase in, and
I don't know, but then he was bent over, and I thought, okay, he's going to faint, and what am I going to do about it? There's no way I can catch him. So I'm trying to figure that. Then he takes this hand off of his head, and blood is literally spurting everywhere out of his head.
okay,
so he's
spurting.
no, Maisie, the driveway looked like a
Yes.
crime scene.
He said,
I guess
yes,
you
and then-
do bleed a lot from the head.
Yeah,
right?
like
Which I knew. So and then he's yelling to get a towel. So I give him paper towels, and he's not paper towels. So then I'm running around the garage. Ah!
and so meanwhile,
I find a towel and give him the towel, but it's like a bath-sized towel.
beach towel.
yes,
He's got a beach towel.
which honestly he needed for the amount of blood that was happening.
Okay. So then segue to
So
Emma
I'm
getting
like,
involved.
mom's like, okay, we're going to the airport, bye. So I'm I'm eating my leftover Danny K sandwich on the lanai. The sun's out. I'm like, oh, what a great Monday. This is so good. And I hear the door open, and mom's like, I can't hear her because the dogs immediately start barking, and she's just yelling. So I'm like, what's happening? And I literally, until Dad came in behind her, she's like, I need your help. And I'm like, what? And then I see Dad behind her with the towel over his eyes because
So he
it's so
can't
big,
see.
and the dogs are jumping at him. And then I look down, and his shoes are untied, and so I'm like, he's gonna trip and fall. And I'm like, what happened? Mom's like, he hit his head on the trunk. So we get the dogs on the lanai and sit him down at the kitchen table, and I'm like, mom's like, we need to see if there's a cut, but he's sitting there like
Well,
staring.
obviously there's
No,
a
but
cut.
I know, well, like where it is.
I know, but we
He's
didn't
sitting
know how
there
bad
like
of a cut
staring
it was.
through me, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Dad, are you gonna faint? Do you feel okay?" And
His eyes didn't
he
look
like
right.
didn't. He looked a little pale, and I was one shocked, and two like being Dad was like, "I'm gonna miss my flight. I'm gonna miss my flight. Oh my gosh!" And was like stressed about that, and I was like,
I'm
"Okay."
like, that's the least of your
And
problems.
then we couldn't. So mom's like, we need to see how big the cut is, because I'm like, Dad, this is like he took the thing off, and his hair it's in his hairline, so his hair is
Yeah.
just like covered in blood, so we couldn't see anything.
and it's down his face.
It's like dripping everywhere. It's spattered on his sneakers. And so then mom gets us flashlight, and I'm like, oh, it was like deep. Like I was like, you need stitches. There's no way you don't need stitches. And he's, I don't want to go to the ER. The ER is expensive. And I'm like, okay,
Oh my
well,
god.
is this really
He
the
literally
priority?
hasn't.
I know. I'm like,
That's
Dad,
crazy.
we're gonna figure it out. So then mom's like goes in the garage to make some calls because she knows Dad will be yelling at her.
Well, he'll be micromanaging.
So
from
then
the
we're
background,
sitting, and
so.
I'm like,
Who are
I
you
ties
calling?
like the urgent
The
care and stuff
urgent
to
care.
figure wait
Oh.
times, and I'm like tying his sneakers for him because Mom and I were like, okay, if like we can't let him faint because like we are not like I
We can't
realized in
catch
that
him.
moment how big Dad is. Like when he's vulnerable, you're like, I don't know how we're supposed to help do more than like calling someone to help you. If he fell or something, like he's very large, and so I'm just.
You're
Oh, Lord.
making him sound like he's.
No, just really, he's tall
He's a
and
big
like
guy, that's
muscular.
all.
I'm not saying he's fat at all, but like he's really tall. Shout out to Justin. Like I could probably catch Justin. I don't think I could catch him.
I'm literally crying. Oh my god.
But so then we were like, okay. So then mom's like, okay, we have to get to the car. And we're like, are you gonna faint? Are you okay? Because he was again acting kind of.
He just looks stunned.
Yeah,
that's all.
and he said, he goes, I almost knocked myself out. Like I think he realized he almost fainted too when he
When
said
I
it.
came
Was
out-
he like in a rush to get his suitcase in? You know when he goes
What do you
like
think?
a little.
do you-
He's like.
Yes,
Again, why weren't
that's
he
what
didn't even
did.
time?
He went into dad turbo mode going
And-
to the airport. And he
Meanwhile,
moving
it
too
was
fast.
2:15. His flight was at like 4:45. I'm like, he didn't. There was no
But
rush.
he had a call he wanted to do first. Anyway,
I think that might be an excuse because he says that every time he has to go to the airport, he magically
That
has
is so
someone
true.
he needs to get
That's
there
true.
for.
I don't know, but when I went out, he was staggering around the driveway, and all of his stuff was strewn.
Yeah.
Like somebody took his iPad, his phone, his glasses, and his
Like out
pullover
near
and
the-
threw them up in
the
the air. They
hedges,
were
because
like all up
out
in
near
the,
The
I walked-
hedges.
Yes.
Yeah.
I walked out and I'm like,
he
oh wow,
staggered out that far.
It was like this
He was out that far.
big like of a splatter of blood
Oh my
on the
God.
driveway.
So when
No
he came
wonder
back,
he was lightheaded.
That's what I said. And then he comes back from the ER and he's just like going about life normally, but literally he hadn't looked in the mirror, and so his hair is crusted up with 5 staples and blood is crusted down the side of his face, and he's just talking to me normally, and I like was trying not to laugh, and I'm like, oh. And Mom and I were just like peeing our pants because I'm like, you look like someone put makeup on you for a horror movie. Like, you need to look. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, go look in the mirror.
When we went to the ER, it was very fast. They brought us right in. It was great. And then when the nurse said, oh, we only do staples for head wounds, because otherwise I guess they have to shave your where they're going to stitch you, which I didn't realize.
And the head skin, it's like it'll pull the stitches. Like the stitches aren't strong enough to hold it or something.
I don't know. But when they said the word staples, Dad's face was like, oh my God, not staples. And then,
Well, yeah,
at the
that sounds
end,
awful.
they say you have to have them out in 10 days, and they actually give you a staple remover to take home. I swear to God, in a package.
They gave it to him
take
because
to
they
your
said
doctor.
take to your doctor because they know he won't come back.
He
And then
better not do it himself.
well, he forgot it here. Classic. So,
Oh,
left it
perfect.
here.
but he said, can I just do it myself?
But then Dad and I, so in our family, I think in an emergency, like we'll all come to your aid and figure it out. But afterwards,
Once you're okay.
it's a tough crowd, right?
No, Mom and I making ourselves cry laughing in the kitchen.
But then at the hospital, at the ER, or was at a separate ER, a standalone ER near us, and the nurse has to ask all these social questions. Oh, have you had this happen? Have you had that happen? Do you feel like you're being bullied at home? And Dad looks at me.
And he was like, I almost said, help me, help me.
I had to look away because we were going to start laughing. And then he said, do you feel like you're being human trafficked? And Dad, and not to make light of anybody who's in that situation, that's not the point, but Dad and I were just like trying not to look at each other. And then at one point, I sat back down in the chair that was too close to the wall and hit my head on the paper towel.
I said, Maisie, wouldn't it be so like on brand for
That
them
would happen.
for me to then have to go pick them both up for having like bleeding heads?
No, actually.
And Mom
The
would
nurse
somehow
is
need to
like-
like stay overnight and make it very dramatic.
The nurse had enough of us. It was a male nurse. He said, you go sit over there.
Oh my God.
So then we got home, and then I did have to hose down the driveway.
Mm-hmm. The blood did come out
That's
though.
crazy.
If you have a murder scene, you need help cleaning up, I'm your girl.
I'm sure there's still much of DNA left on that driveway.
Oh, it's true. I didn't use any other products. I just used a hose, but you're right.
No bleach.
It's probably too simple.
Yeah.
Macy's
So
like, oh,
that's
I'm
the
an expert.
excitement here.
Yeah, and then
that
Mom
we've had
last
in the
night went to
last few
take a
days.
Tylenol and dropped a Tylenol on the floor, and almost almost got it. And Mom and I are like, we're done with emergencies tonight. No more medical emergencies.
I called Dad and he's like, yeah, I have a headache and I missed my flight, but at least I got a nice dinner.
He kept saying, oh, my head just really hurts. And I said, Dad, you should
Duh.
open and then got 5 staples in it. I don't think you're going to feel like okay even. Obviously, your head really hurts.
Do you think they beeped going through TSA?
I don't know. I didn't ask him.
That was like my
Good
first
question.
thought when he was like, yeah, I'm flying home tomorrow
You should
morning.
text
I
him
was
because
like,
that would make him laugh really hard.
Yeah, text him and ask him, because then his flight was delayed like 4 hours because a plane landed on the runway in Palm Beach and got a flat tire, so they had to clear the runway and make
Did
sure
it,
there
like,
was nothing
blow
on the
out?
runway. But he was
They have to check it to make sure there isn't anything on the runway to
he
make
didn't
a tire
take
pop.
off till 11:30, and his flight was supposed to be
He landed.
9 o'clock.
Life
Oh, he
360
did?
notified me that he landed at
Oh,
Bradley
okay.
Airport.
Mom doesn't want to fly into what airport is it, Mom?
Reagan.
She doesn't want to fly into Reagan because of all their near misses, and that's where we have to fly into.
I don't blame her.
So we have to find
15,000
alternate
near
routes.
misses. 15,000.
Is that the one they had the crash, the collision?
Yes.
Oh, I don't
Yes.
want to fly in there either then. Because, yeah.
Why would you?
No, they continued to have, even after this last incident, they've had multiple near misses.
It's because it's like one
because
of the hardest and
how it's
tightest
set up.
airports to get in and
Yes.
out of.
Is it because of the water right there?
And it's because there's so much restricted airspace in DC that there's
Oh,
very few
true.
routes that planes can take in and out. Look at me. Knowledge at you all.
So we won't
Enriching
play
your
in there.
lives.
So should we get on, Maisie, with what in the
What
world?
in the world? Let's get into what in the world.
Okay, go ahead, Emma.
So I saw.
Mom's like, I will yell at you later.
I saw that Prince William has hired Princess Diana's divorce lawyers. And I saw a couple theories as to why it could be.
Prince William?
Yes, Prince William.
Why?
First in line to the throne. So there's a couple theories. I don't think people think that him and Kate are getting divorced. So first off, what the royals are saying, like the spokespeople for the royals are saying, like, no, he's just like, that's going to be his lawyer team going forward as he like moves into the position of being king. Like he's trying to do things differently than Prince Charles, because historically the Queen and Prince Charles, etc., use the whole same like legal team, and it's not like a divorced lawyer team technically. It's just like a legal team he's hired as his legal team
For himself.
And, yes.
Okay.
Just to do things differently, be independent, whatever. But there's a lot of theories that he is hiring them because Prince Harry is going to divorce Meghan, but Prince Harry didn't want to hire them himself because it would be in the news. So Prince William is helping him behind the scenes and reserving them so that they have the best legal team on hand when he
Come
decides to
on.
divorce Meghan.
When? Like he's just hoping he is, or you think
I don't know.
it's
That's
an
just like, I
action
don't
of-
think they had like a date, but I don't know.
she's getting roasted over her jams, so I'm out.
You're embarrassing.
That's insane. I don't think
Well,
that's happening.
but I don't know if you saw, but there was a New York Times article where they interviewed her and her mother at their actual house, and there is a couple of videos that they filmed there in her actual kitchen.
Oh, in Montecito?
Yes.
Why
and
is that crazy?
It's not crazy, but you said that she was getting roasted over her jams, but everything is sold out on the website.
Yeah, I
Maybe
mean,
they
what
only
they
made
what they
100
say?
jars.
I know. I don't
Bad
know.
press is all press is good press. So like
Yeah.
maybe
She's
that's
still getting a lot of criticism for different things, and I have to say, I don't know. The show, I can go either way on it.
it's
not
mindless. So it's harmless.
Mindless,
It's also
yeah.
it's so harmless that
Right.
in the
There's
grand
no
scheme
ill
of the
intent in the
world, I
show.
don't know how you take time to pick on her for something
Right.
that's again
That is
so
so
light
true.
and harmless. Like
Right.
you don't have to like it or find it entertaining, but there's nothing negative about it. It's not like it's offensive. And it's funny because I saw people even saying that, oh, she cooks with Le Creuset pans, like how unattainable. And I wanted to say, I get
A lot of
everything
people
is
use
relative. I get that everything's relative, and $300 or $250 for a pan is very expensive for a lot of people or most people in the world. But at the same time, it's not like she's cooking with a $4,000 pan. Le Creuset is so timeless and old school and like classic that I don't think you can consider that unattainable.
But it's all relative. It's all versus buying a pot and pan set at Walmart for
Right.
$75.
And if she would say people would say she's being fake. And like, of course, she doesn't cook with $75 pan. So like, she probably can't really win. Like she's
Yeah.
supposed to do.
No, I don't think she can win. And then the New York Times was talking about how they would never criticize Ina Garten or Martha Stewart for cooking with Le Creuset.
Yes.
I mean,
That's
so
a very
it's
good
sort
point.
they're looking for ways
But
to
I feel like
criticize her.
that's different because they came up and became like famous for those respective things versus her already just being like rich and doing this.
Yeah. But I also
So-
She hasn't always been rich.
she worked hard and then was put into a caliber of people that allowed her to then meet Prince Harry. It's not like he plucked her
And all
off the
these shows
street.
they're supposed to be aspirational.
Well, that was my
Nobody-
next comment. Like,
Right.
why would you want to watch something that is the life you're living? Yes, it's relatable, but it's not that entertaining versus this like beautiful
Yeah.
woman in beautiful clothes cooking beautiful things in like a beautiful place. Like, of course you need to watch.
Nobody wants to watch their neighbor down the street cooking some crusty old pot.
No.
wait, so can we go
Exactly.
back
Here's
to
John.
can we go
So-
back to this divorce,
divorce.
thing?
So
Because what would the reason for the divorce be?
I don't know, but like my one thought is also I don't think she would divorce him, but I also think it could be the best career move she ever could make would be divorcing him.
Yes.
Because imagine if she left him and talked about how like like what everyone thinks, which is that like he really did not support her or stand up for her and was a wimp in the way he's handled his family and her being brought into that family. Like I think a lot of it falls back on him, even though no one really thinks that. I think it could be like insane of her if she divorced. Not that like she should, because hopefully she like loves him and that's why she's married to him, not for any other reason. But if she did divorce him to be like for all these reasons, and I think it would make her 10 times more popular and interesting, which is horrible to
But I
say.
think he also is, I would say, if you're looking at it critically, it seems like he let her be the scapegoat a little bit for his leaving the family.
Yeah.
He said it was his idea, but if you think of a lot of the reasons he came up with, a lot of them were related to her.
Yeah, what
So in
other
some
reason would
ways,
he
he's
have
blaming her.
besides her?
Watch
He's
like The
always
Crown, which
been
obviously
dissatisfied.
which obviously is fictional, but they say it's fictional, but it's based off of a lot of input from very well versed and knowledgeable like intel about the royal family. Is that he was like the bad boy of the family, like again like the second in line, like the spare, like his whole book, remember the spare that he came out with, like he was treated as like a second
But he was
class
always doing
citizen.
things like dressing up as a
Yeah.
Nazi for Halloween, all the things that kids do when they don't know what they're
Yeah.
supposed to be
And
doing.
I think they have a twisted view of their role in the world because of what happened to their mom basically being killed because of how famous and unprotected she was. So I think
Right.
they have a negative or could have a negative connotation of the royal family because of how they treated their mother. And so I don't think it's
Which
shock
would be fair.
which would be
if
fair.
you
Yeah, I
take
don't
the
think it's
crown.
shocking that he wouldn't want to be part of the family, but as mom
Right.
said, it's almost like he waited until he had another reason that wasn't himself to walk away. Like he used her as, oh, you guys are bullying her, versus maybe she was hearing everything that he claimed they did to him. So she was already didn't like them because she was like, how could you treat someone? There's all these things that could have fed into her maybe not liking them. So,
Or was she excited about being part of it and then it wasn't what she
right.
thought?
Which goes back
And
to like,
she's disappointed they're not part of it still. I don't know.
and it being his fault that he didn't prepare her at all for what being part of the royal family like entailed and what is required of you and what was really like, because someone like Kate wasn't part of the royal family growing up, but you live in England, she was like of a high caliber family, you know what you're
She
getting
went to
into,
boarding
you understand it
school.
much
There's
more
different things. Yes.
She was
versus
bred to be a princess.
yes
Let's be
versus
honest.
like
An actress.
like Meghan, it's like one of us. Like, yeah, we saw it on TV and you can read about it, but you don't actually understand it or
Yeah.
even understand how important and like pressure inducing it is. So who knows?
Yes, I think you can look at it both ways. I don't really have a feeling one way or another about her either way. And the show was fine. But it's just interesting how there's so much backlash, but yet all of her products are sold out.
I know.
Which, as you said, Maisie, could mean that they had very few made.
I would like to see them reunite as brothers, but I feel like it can't happen when he's married to Meghan. So I don't know how that works.
Now, the video they had of her real kitchen is very underwhelming. They said the kitchen was from the original or the prior owners. So it's not like her show kitchen. I think I like better, but I guess it depends on your taste.
Interesting. I'll have to look it up. I haven't
Yes.
seen those videos.
So my what in the world I was going to talk about was P. Diddy and his lawsuits. They have amended the criminal complaint against him to include additional victims. They haven't named the victims
Again?
yet, but
I feel like they always
Yeah.
keep adding victims.
they do. There's multiple victims now, and they're assuming the first victim is Cassie Ventura, who's the one he kicked in the hallway in the hotel.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we don't know that yet. And then there's another lawsuit of some guy from Florida. They're not sure what his connection is to
Always comes
P.
back
Diddy.
to Florida.
It always comes back to Florida. But he has the most bizarre story that he was walking into his apartment and he touched the doorknob and there was something greasy on the doorknob, which he claims was
Lubricant.
Vaseline lubricant spiked with drugs, which is the allegation that's been levied against P. Diddy this whole time. That's how he drugged people. And that he felt woozy, and these two guys that are associated with P. Diddy and are involved in these other lawsuits took him to this party in Miami. This guy lived in West Palm Beach, but they still don't know how did they find this guy, how did they know this
Yeah.
guy. But in any event, he's suing P. Diddy and all these people. They take him to Miami to this party, and he's obviously like half clothed, like drugged, doesn't really know what's going on. And supposedly they bring him into this party where Beyonce, Jay-Z, Gloria Estefan, which for anybody younger, it's a singer from the 80s. She's a very famous singer, and her husband that have a house in Miami. They're all there, and LeBron James.
Uh-oh.
And that when they bring him in, Gloria Estefan wants them to get an ambulance because the guy's in such bad shape. The question is, if this guy's in such bad shape, how does he remember this happening? But in any event. And that Beyonce supposedly is quoted as saying, what are you bringing this half-naked white guy in front of me for? It's all these
Okay, but that's not
crazy
a crime
allegations.
to say that. What is that? That
No,
too.
it's
Why is
not.
there a half-naked white dude in front of me?
No, but it's just like absolutely insane that these are the allegations being made, and a lot of these
But
celebrities.
what? I'm confused. He's suing them for being roofied?
He's suing P. Diddy, yes.
For being roofied? Like he wasn't
Yes.
If I was
assaulted?
P. Diddy,
or-
I'd say that's the least
Yes,
of...
he was sexually assaulted at this party.
By
and
P.
supposedly-
Diddy, he's saying?
Yes. And some other people. It's specifically, he includes in the lawsuit Gloria Estefan's husband, who's a major music figure. They must have a gazillion dollars. And supposedly there's an underground tunnel between P. Diddy's mansion and the Estefan mansion in Miami. And that
But
the
it's
occasion of
literally
this
like
party...
below sea level. I don't know about that.
I'm just telling you what the claims are. It just seems outlandish, but supposedly the occasion was P. Diddy's son's birthday party, and that's where this all occurred. And some of these celebrities are claiming we weren't even in town that weekend, etc. But a lawyer is not supposed to bring a claim unless they have backup evidence. So if you come to me and say, I want to hire you to sue somebody, I have to have some other evidence of your facts. We can't just make stuff up. Not that this lawyer couldn't do that, but it's very specific and crazy to think that this is what could have gone on. So
Sounds
If
too
P. Diddy
outlandish
makes it
to make
alive,
up.
if P. Diddy makes it alive to trial, like I'll be
I
shocked.
know.
So
it's in another month. What is your What in the World segment, Maisie?
I listened to the Remi Bader podcast. It's not her podcast, but she went on Khloe Kardashian's podcast, which I actually really like. I've listened to a couple of her episodes now. She did one with her mom, Kris Jenner, which I thought was really good. But Remi became famous on TikTok through COVID, and she was bigger,
plus size influencer.
and yeah, she was a plus size influencer, but she came into it. She wasn't like, she talks about how she became this figure for body positivity, but
Famous
She
for
got
to start
she
with.
would do plus size clothing hauls of
They
like
weren't even
her
plus. They
trying
weren't
on
even.
or-
Yeah, they weren't even plus size. Like she'd order from like Free People or Revolve
or Zara.
and do like real,
try
like what
stuff
she
on.
called realistic, right? Trying on like I'm a size extra large or extra extra large. Like I'm trying on these clothes from these brands that claim that they have like size inclusive branding, and she wasn't even necessarily like going after the brands, but she was just doing like realistic.
It
This
was,
is
like,
what this looks
funny.
like on my body, and she would like it was funny because
Right.
she's funny. Like she would just make fun of
Yeah.
how funny she looked in some of the clothing.
But she became like the symbol of body positivity as a plus size person. But now she talks about how she didn't even want that role. It just fell upon her. And she had so many health issues that were a result of her weight. And so she went through this surgery. It's called SADie, I think. I don't know. It's an
So
acronym.
it's like a
The
stomach,
They
sleeve.
cut out like 80% of your stomach. And so she lost all this weight doing that. And now she is facing so much backlash from her followers and people because they say she's like a fraud.
This is
How
what
could she
well,
do this?
The
And
history
how
is that
can
it was
she,
like a
like-
year ago.
Yeah, she didn't speak out for a year.
And so for
So
a year,
everyone
people
thought she was on
she slowly
Ozempic.
lost weight for the past year. And that's why people claim that she was lying, because like for a year she just didn't talk about her weight loss. That's like the
Did she ever
Yeah.
talk about her weight and positivity before, or was she just being
she
herself
was
and
just being
showing
herself.
clothes?
Like,
She was
this
just
is
being
how
herself and
clothes look
happened to
on
be
me.
plus size.
She was never.
She wasn't talking specifically, I'm happy
Oh
being
my god,
overweight
no.
or
And she would talk
anything.
about, she would never
So,
say like I have X health issue because of my weight, but she would talk about I have horrible back issues, and she'd have all these issues that she like was trying to fix, and she never said outright it's because I'm overweight. But in the podcast, that's what she was saying, is her straw that broke the camel's back of her going to get this surgery was they said this is now affecting your fertility. This is how unhealthy you are at this point in your life. And she's 30 maybe at the oldest. And
Yeah.
I think that's what pushed her, because she had tried like Ozempic and all those things, but
And
it
it
was
didn't
too
work.
like
She
she
was,
got really sick on them. And so
yeah.
she's like, I tried other like less drastic things, but this is what I did. And so people are like mad at her because she like abandoned the plus size community and all this stuff. And I just think it's crazy that people think they owe you, like influencers owe them personal health updates. That's a literal medical issue. Like, why is that?
But I think it's insane that you can be shamed for being healthy. And I know, like, in the podcast, like, Chloe and Remi, they both lost a lot of weight in their lives. But they're like, we have friends that are bigger and they're definitely healthy. Like, you can be bigger and healthy. But it's crazy that you can get so much hate for trying to live a healthier lifestyle, especially like mental health wise. Like she was not happy
Yeah,
being that large. So I just find it
well, I think
interesting.
maybe it makes some people who are larger sized
yeah, it's
feel abandoned. Now, do I have to
totally,
do that? And they say that happens with couples lots of times, that if one of
yeah,
them loses weight, the other will sabotage if they're also overweight, because they feel like, okay, now I'm being abandoned. We were in this together.
yeah. But I
Yeah.
can't imagine, like, she is in such like a cool space of like career wise that like she probably gets so many opportunities to travel and do such cool things that I'm sure when you can barely walk because you're overweight, and it's not like she was like 400 pounds. Yes,
No,
she was bigger, but you weren't like, oh my god, like how is that person walking? That's not what she looked like. So it's sort of
no,
telling how like you don't even have to be 300 pounds to, you know,
to
that
be
TLC show
unhealthy.
that's like these people can't even literally make it to the
No.
doctor. It can affect you even if you're not insanely overweight. And so I can imagine for her, it's I want to go live my life and fly on an airplane and go on trips without having to lay in bed because now my back hurts.
Yeah.
When you're
Thinking about my weight vest, my famous weight vest that I wear when I walk, it's 11 pounds. And if you think about somebody gaining 11 pounds, it doesn't really sound like that much, does it?
no
But that weight vest feels
heavy,
like that would change your life in terms of how you're walking. And
yeah, your energy throughout the day.
yes, good for her that she's getting healthy.
I know, and I feel bad that she's getting so much hate online, which is just people who have too much time on their hands.
Speaking of hate online, can we talk about Lauren Sanchez again?
Oh, and how she's going to space with Katy Perry.
No, but
I
like
can't
they're
with them.
making, what do they say in their
They're gonna
magazine
put
cover?
they're gonna put the ass and astronaut.
That was
Yeah.
Katy
They
Perry.
are a
As the
disgrace.
toast said, they're a disgrace to women around the world.
They're just horrendous. I can't even. They're making every female look like
Well,
an
did you
idiot.
see Olivia Munn on the Today Show talked about it? And it was
No.
funny because she was co-hosting with Jenna and Friends, and you could tell that Jenna was like horrified that she was actually giving like a negative opinion because obviously it's 10 o'clock Today Show, like everything's
Right.
roses.
Everybody's nice.
And Olivia was like, I'm sorry. Like, this is insane. She's like, with the way the world is, do we need to be bragging about going to space? Like, if they want to go, they can go, but why does it need to be like treated like they're doing some heroic thing for the world? Like, they're literally, this does nothing for the world. You're just spending what's probably millions of dollars for 10 seconds in space. Like, this literally serving no purpose.
But also, I'm going to tell you, if I were on the flight with them, which first of all, I am never going on a flight like that. But if I were to go on a flight like that and I happen to be on their flight, I would be off of it, because I think if there's an emergency that happens, I don't want to be stuck with you idiots.
No. Like when
Like,
those people
Hey,
got stuck
can't
in
imagine.
space.
you can't rope that one scientist into the group that's
No,
going.
no, I'm talking about her and Lauren Sanchez talking about flying eyelash extensions and things in space. Just like really demeaning the whole
I was laughing because
experience.
I think it was the toast that said Elon Musk should just send the first crew of women to space right
Yes.
now and like just screw their whole ploy.
I also saw that Lauren Sanchez is getting advice from Anna Wintour on her wedding attire. So I would love to be a fly on the wall for
No,
that
that's probably a
consultation.
good
Can
thing.
you imagine?
I know. Hopefully she like,
I
I
know.
know, because she kind of dresses crazy. Maybe someone was like, maybe you should go to the most conservative woman in the world, Anna Wintour.
I think she talked her out of Victoria's Secret as the sponsor.
Mom.
She looks good. It's not like she doesn't pull
No,
off
I'm
what
not
she
saying
wears,
that.
but it is not the most
It's just the
traditionally
choice of,
age appropriate
yeah.
clothing. But that's okay.
No, it's not even about that. Wear whatever you want, but it's more if you have a specific event that calls for maybe some more conservative, maybe just read
Even
the
that's
room a
not
little bit.
conservative. It's just cheesy. There's so many cheesy aspects to it. It doesn't make
Especially
any
when you
sense
have
to
like
me.
billions of dollars.
I know
I
it
can
always
look at
makes me mad when people with a lot of money have bad style.
nobody else's style that I wouldn't wear, but I can appreciate that it's a
Yeah.
style that looks good on them and it's appropriate for the event or whatever. And it doesn't have to be a turtleneck. That's not what I'm saying. It's just that it's amazing to me that some of the stuff she chooses
I mean, that's like
to
Taylor
wear.
Swift. Taylor Swift has probably the worst style. Like 1 out of 10 outfits, I'm like, oh, that's really cute. And then the other
It's
nine
all
are just
giving costume.
horrifyingly horrible.
Maybe
And
she's so used to performing she can't get
but
out
she
of
has
that
a stylist.
realm.
That's the sad, crazy part.
Maybe that stylist needs to be
They
fired.
do. There's this
That's all I'm gonna
Instagram
say.
that's really famous. It's What Should Taylor Wear or something. And they'll post like what she should have worn to all these different events she goes to. And it's like always so on point and so like with the trends. And she chooses to wear.
Because she looks like a lot of the time she looks like she has a prom dress on or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just a little bit chuggy what she always chooses to wear. Or like
Maybe she'll go to the Met Gala and wear something fantastic.
with Travis. They both have insane styles, so I wouldn't hold your breath on them wearing something fantastic. But
Maybe one other what in the world is that it's
Yes.
Masters Week.
Oh,
And people
yes.
that come out of the woodwork with these Masters hauls that they're getting, like, you can't tell me they've been around golf ever, but they went and spent like $10,000 at the Masters merchandise tent. And I find it
Which I think is
so
the
fascinating. And I think
is
it's,
limit. Is that I think there's a dollar limit, isn't it? $10?
I was making it up. I don't know.
No, but I think there is. Go ahead.
Okay. Of course, mom has to get technical. But you're right. I think you can only spend $10,000 in one purchase. Like, you have to go back.
Yes.
But it's like a sign of, I'm
it's like
blanking
a
on the word
scarcity
that you,
mentality that people are like, I'm only here once.
Hoarding
And like
mentality.
we've been there, so I understand how you get to that place because I remember the first
no,
year
like you
we
black
went.
out.
Yeah, now and I because you don't have a phone, which disconnects you like automatically
Even
from real
more.
life. And so Natalie and I went in, and Bobby's somewhere else. So I'm just grabbing some. He's gonna want this. What if he doesn't get it? And I don't know where he is in this
Meanwhile,
warehouse size
though,
thing.
how long we stood in line for an hour and a half.
That's the other
right?
thing. You stand in line for so
Yeah.
long. It's
And then you're in a corral like at Disney before they let you in. So they get a group together and whoever's standing there says, "Okay, are you ready?" And then they pull up the gate and they let a certain number of people in, and it's a race around different rooms.
and also not that things are cheap there, but they don't upcharge you. If you were to buy
No,
a
they
golf
have,
shirt
yeah,
at any golf, it's
90
the same
bucks.
price as it is at the Masters. So like,
Right.
it's not cheap stuff, but you're not being upcharged, which like they could do. It's not like they're charging you double what a normal golf shop would charge. So it's all the pricing is very expected that you easily rationalize. Like, oh, the hat's $25. I'll take four. And in your head, you
So
don't realize that
literally.
you're already at 100. But
I
also
just
then
find it like crazy.
yeah.
But the other interesting part of it is they do have at all the different counters, they have one room with all shirts in it. And behind the counters, they hire golf professionals from around the country to work in the store. So when you go up there, you can talk to somebody who actually knows clothing and can say, you would be an extra small. This is,
Yeah, they
it's
actually
very
take the
quick.
time to help you.
Yes.
But on TikTok, I've seen like merch hauls after merch hauls, And it's like these normal women that literally got an insane amount of stuff. And it's just like a coolness factor if you wear a Masters look because you can't buy it anywhere else. So everyone
Yeah.
knows that you've been to the Masters if you're
Like I
wearing
have
it.
a
So
mug.
this elite level of human, if like you make eye contact with someone that has like the logo and you're like, oh, like you've made it.
I
I
have a
think that's why
master's mug.
people go crazy.
Yeah, like my master's mug, I'll use it. And sometimes I like on a work call, but someone's like, is that a master's mug? And I'm like,
No, yeah, exactly. It's crazy. But they have such cute stuff this year, and so I have a little list for Natalie. They have a pink
I don't
sweatshirt
know.
this
I
year.
don't know if you guys are on the same
Oh,
page because she told me she didn't think she was even going in the merch tent.
She told me I
yeah.
could send her stuff.
Then she told
I
me,
don't know.
she goes, I don't know why Maisie's sending me stuff. I don't think I'm even going in the merch tent. Not to stir the pot, but that's what she told me.
Are you kidding?
That's
I'm
No.
literally what
texting
mom
her
was
right
there.
now.
The other thing that's very popular there are the gnomes.
Oh, yeah.
There's a big garden gnome that's probably what, 15
Yeah, but
inches
the
tall?
thing with the big ones is that they every year it's different. So people collect them that go because
Yes.
it's specific to that year.
Remember, we went to an antique store one year when we were there before we went to the Masters. And Bobby, of course, made friends with some random guy who is a Masters merchandise dealer. And he said, first thing you do is you get a gnome because they sell for $49 and they're on eBay that same day for $450.
And literally, when you go early in the morning, you see people leaving with gnomes. Like they just go in to get the gnomes and leave. Or people with literally 45 hats the same color because again, they go to sell them on eBay, which is kind of sad. But last year I remember I got a hat for myself. That's all I got because it was like the second year. But I still spent $800 because all different people I had to get stuff for. Like that Venmo me back and stuff. But it was like I still had to get like a huge haul because people get word that you're there.
But it's a pressure situation because if somebody said, oh, I want a quarter zip sweatshirt, you can't text them
And say this is
or
what they have.
send them a photo. And you can't return it, obviously. So you're sort of stuck. Okay, I hope they like it.
Totally.
I have receipts here that we literally had a discussion about it. So I just texted her. I'm like, why did Emma say you're not going? You told me you were. Because she was like, oh, we aren't going till Friday, so there probably won't be as much of the good stuff left. So like, why would she
Sounds like
say
she's
that?
setting you up for failure so that she can let you down easy.
No, because I asked, can I send you a couple things in a list? And she said yes.
Sounds
She
like
said
a
yes.
violation of the sister
Yes,
code.
period, in parentheses, in whiteout ink. You can send me it, but that doesn't mean you're getting it.
That's insane. She really got me excited for no reason.
Well, maybe she will end up going in.
I'll
Especially if
force
it's
her. I'll be
raining.
like, if you could do one thing for me in my whole life, Natalie. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, that's true. How many things did you put on your list?
Just a couple. But they had this cashmere sweater, but they listed the price of it, and I was like, that's insane. So I
What
took
is it?
that off the list.
What's the price?
Like $250. Because we
Is it
got it.
actually cashmere?
I don't know, but remember we got that one and it wasn't
What's
250.
It definitely.
It was, and it's not cashmere. It's cashmere
Maisie,
cotton.
you just
I
don't remember the
realize.
You
prices because
spent,
you didn't.
you bought me a $250 sweater, that tan one?
Yes, Maisie.
Yeah.
That's not worth 250. That's crazy. I need to wear that more.
See, I can't return it. That's the problem. Right
That
there
is
the
cute.
problem.
I always forget we have that. I need to wear
But
that
again,
more.
Maisie, it's
That
like
sweater?
you only need so much master's gear before it's a
I
little
only
bit
have
like.
a couple things on the list.
I'm not
Let me
saying.
live.
I'm not
A
saying.
key fob, a twilly. I need those two.
But I got to get out
And the
all
pink
my master
sweatshirt.
stuff to wear this week. I got to start wearing it this week.
You
I
do,
know, I
because
packed.
you two historically go a little crazy in the store there.
I packed
Yes.
so scarcely for this trip because I only had one suitcase for 3 weeks. And I did not pack one gator anything to watch the basketball win or anything Masters related.
I'm literally looking at you in a gator shirt right now. So what do you mean?
No, but this is like my workout shirt. Like, I don't even have a gator sweatshirt with me. And
You
no
need something with a
Masters
gator on
merch,
it.
which I have so much of, yet I don't have for the week that it matters. So here we are.
Maybe I'll go steal some
Here we
stuff to
are.
wear this week.
My sweatshirt folding in my bench is very delicate, so if you touch it, I'll know.
Well, I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna touch it. You're not here. Can't stop me.
I'll send you a rental fee.
I'm gonna go just like lightly touch your bed, move a couple things.
Natalie slept in my bed, didn't she?
Yes.
I knew it. I knew
You
it.
could tell.
I could feel it.
In your bones.
I could feel it in my bones. But I
All
might
right. Well,
go play
speaking.
some blackjack this week, in case any of you are
Nice.
wondering.
Get some tips from Dad first.
Dad's gonna say,
Oh,
"Don't
he's
go gamble your money
yeah,
away."
literally.
No,
I
Dad used
I
to every
have a
time.
little cash, so I'm gonna use that.
He would go with the guys from the golf club. They would take a trip down there and play golf and go to the casino in the Indian casino in Connecticut. And he would just take $100 and say that was what he was going to gamble with.
He'd
And
probably
he,
turn it into like
most times,
thousands.
most time he would come home with 2 or
That's
3,000
literally Bobby.
from blackjack.
He goes to the
So
casino and
They
like,
say that's the best chances to win against the house. I don't know if that's true.
I don't know either, but maybe
But
it's
they're like really strict about IDs in this Louisiana at this casino. Like the actual part where you can gamble is roped off. So like even if you go into like the restaurant, they ID check you. And the guy made me like smile even to match my smile to my ID and looked in a pamphlet for the
were they
Florida.
like, never mind.
It was so strict. Yes. Oh, your nose looks different. I was also 16, so like I definitely look different, but I hope.
all right. Okay, so Maisie, you want to wrap us up?
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Tough Crowd podcast. It's been real, it's been great. We'll see you later.
See ya.
Bye.